5 years ago today, Washington, D.C. witnessed a moment that paused the entire nation for exactly 187 minutes. It was a day that started with speeches and ended in a way no one expected, leaving the country wondering if things would ever be the same again. But while you remember the footage from the steps of the Capitol, there is a much deeper story that has taken 5 full years to unravel. What happened to the people who disappeared into the crowd that day? And more importantly, what are the complex legal battles still being fought in 2026 that few are discussing? The dust has settled, but the full picture is just starting to clear. To understand where we are today, we have to go back to that cold morning in January 2021. The atmosphere in the Capitol was incredibly intense. Thousands had gathered, waiting for an event that would become one of the most analyzed moments in modern history. The timeline we now know by heart was chaotic. By noon, the energy was rising. By 1 p.m., the perimeter lines were crossed. It wasn't just a gathering anymore. It was a massive wave pushing against the doors of history. But here is the detail most people miss. While the cameras were focused on the front entrance, critical decisions were being made and delayed behind closed doors. The events that unfolded between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. left a mark that is still visible today. Offices were entered without authorization. The Senate chamber, a symbol of order, became the center of a historic disruption. But beyond the structural impact, the human cost was significant. Lives were changed forever, and many security personnel faced severe challenges. The images of the struggle in the doorways are part of history now. But as the sun set that day and the building was finally secured, the real challenge was only just beginning. It was a process that would move from the streets to the courtrooms. And it is a process that continues right now, and 2026, over the last 5 years. Authorities have launched one of the most extensive inquiries ever seen. We are talking about over 1,200 individuals facing legal action. The list of cases ranges from simple unauthorized entry to serious organizational charges. We saw leaders of various groups handed multi-year sentences. It seemed like the legal response was swift. But was it? As we sit here on the 5th anniversary, new reports are surfacing about the current status of those involved. Some have returned to society, sharing their perspectives. Others are still navigating appeals that could change legal interpretations for decades to come. The story gets even more complex when we look at the political landscape. The committee that reviewed the event laid out a roadmap of accountability. They pointed to leadership decisions at the highest levels. Yet, 5 years later, the debate over responsibility has not ended. It has simply evolved. We are seeing a nation with differing views on history. One side sees a threat to the system, the other sees a protest that escalated. This difference in perspective hasn't disappeared. The question we have to ask ourselves is, have we actually learned from this? Or are we just watching history unfold again? Let's look at the key figures involved. The prominent names from that year, their legacies have been permanently altered by those few hours. For some, it shifted their career paths entirely. But the most compelling stories aren't about the famous names, they are about the regular citizens who got caught up in the momentum. We are now hearing stories of families affected, of careers shifted, and of the reflections that only time can bring. These are the personal stories that the news often missed. But they define the true impact of that day. And what about the building itself? The security protocols in the Capitol have been completely overhauled. The area is now much more secure compared to 2021. Information sharing has improved, and response times have been adjusted. But physical measures can only do so much. The real challenge wasn't just in the security lines, it was in the trust between the public and institutions. That is much harder to restore. As we look at the landscape of 2026, we have to wonder if the systems held up because they were strong, or if they were simply tested to their limit. There is also a technological angle that we cannot ignore. The role of digital platforms in organizing the events of that January has led to massive changes in how social media operates. But has it worked? In 2026, online coordination is more sophisticated than ever. The conversations haven't stopped. They have just moved to different areas of the internet where they are harder to observe. The same energy that fueled the event is still present online. This is the unseen challenge that security experts are most focused on today. It is not just about a physical gathering anymore, it is about digital influence. So, where does this leave us? The 5th anniversary is a major date, but it is not the end of the story. The legal proceedings regarding the main planners are still influencing current discussions. The outcome of these cases will define how the country handles political unrest for the future. We are watching history be written in real time. Every court ruling, every new book released, and every document that comes to light adds another piece to the puzzle, and the picture that is forming is complex and far from complete. As we reflect on 5 years of inquiries and debates, one thing is clear: that day in January was not just a singular event, it was a sign of deeper challenges. The immediate effects have been managed, but the underlying issues remain. Whether those issues will grow or resolve depends entirely on what happens next. The story is still being written. And perhaps the most important part is the one we are living through right now. Thanks for watching. If you found this look back insightful, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the events that shape our world. We'll see you in the next one.